It's the 11th day.
11th day.
That is
yes.
amazing. It's just incredible.
Well, it's amazing. We have to do it.
And how are you feeling? What's it?
Well, I'm
Bearing up all right?
feeling pretty good. And Peter is a doctor, and as far as I know,
Not a hunger strike specialist there.
well, no, but he helps a little medical knowledge, and we're doing well. We are following the usual procedure, the hygiene and water, hot water we drink these days, and
Vitamins.
and yeah, we're good. A little slow in the morning, and
But nobody notices that with me.
Fantastic. And you're coming here every day?
every day since last Monday.
Amazing.
So 18th we started. We've been here delivering letter to the to every party. Previously on Thursday before that, announcing what we're going to do, what we want. That's it.
Any sign that they're listening to you?
Absolutely not. No.
How you
Hi
doing,
George,
George?
lovely to see you.
And
Thanks
you,
so much
yeah.
for coming down.
No,
Really
it's a
appreciate
total
it.
pleasure.
Yeah.
I'm really glad to be honoured to be here.
Yeah.
Are you on strike as well?
So I did 7 days, and it was like day 6 was
were thin enough
brutal.
already.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I was thin enough already. Had a lot because of my finger. I mean, to be honest, I think it didn't have a problem with my finger, but yeah, I kind of got involved in this to sort of say I would support those wanting to do it, but got so inspired by them that I actually joined for the first week. But realised in order to support them, I needed to start eating by popular request from them as well as me. So yeah, they're just aren't they inspiring? Isn't it a privilege to be supporting them? Yeah.
Great. Shall we go and see the Lib Dem
Yes,
crew?
let's do that,
Brilliant.
yeah.
Well,
Thank
thank
you
you
very
very
much
much
for
for
coming.
what you're
It's
doing.
really
It's just
kind.
amazing.
George,
It's so impressive.
we need to keep the
on.
pressure on.
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely. Well, look after yourselves.
Thank you.
Take care. Don't get too cold.
No, we are good. We are good.
Okay.
And please don't hunger strike.
Really,
until the
really brilliant to
election.
meet you both. Really a great honour. Thank you so much.
It's, I mean, Marco is so inspiring. He said as we were getting ready for it, he said it's just a mental, the preparation you need really is very simple. It's just getting your mental attitude right. So you just make that decision, I'm not going to eat. And to keep in mind, for me, I just was keeping in mind what it was about and why we were doing it. It's really, it's really powerful. And your relationship with hot water changes. Like, we were there so appreciating a drink of hot water. It's like you wouldn't believe it unless you'd done it. We were there literally toasting it together, going, "Oh, hot water, yeah." So this is Julian. This is George. Hello.
How do you do, Julian? Very nice to meet you.
So Julian's also on day 11 of his hunger strike.
Wow, amazing. It's so impressive. So I don't know how you do it. I really don't. Are you getting any traction with these people? Are they paying any attention?
We had a conversation with Cy Brinton and with Ed Davey.
But I mean, it is interesting that for the first time ever, that environmental issues are really big in almost all the manifestos. But I mean, what makes it really toxic is the way the media treats it all, I think. So even when there is some positive stuff in the manifestos, it doesn't get a look in. It just doesn't get discussed. But who's talking about it in the media? It's just not being represented. It's really, the media's a curse. That's where everything goes wrong. I say that as a journalist.
Well, it's interesting with the hunger strike. We had absolute silence from the media the first week, but now finding in the second week things are starting to pick up a little bit. Parliament declared on the 1st of May a climate and ecological emergency. Then nothing has been done, but we have this bill, climate and ecological emergency bill exists, and so it's like there's a tangible response that's there. We can grasp it. And yet, no one's heard about it at the moment, or very few, and it's just starting to happen. As I said, it's very exciting that we've got the first candidate getting behind it, because I think once one does, the others in that particular constituency will also have to get behind it, and then it demonstrates, well, if they can do it there, all candidates can get behind it, and then so we're hoping the floodgates will open and we'll get candidates behind it. So it's getting as much pressure on them as possible. And it's just looking for ways for everyone to play their part, So, you know, people can join the hunger strike still, but for those that can't, there's still ways to get involved. But I think now you've blessed us, George. I think things will pick up.
Yeah, it's all going to change now.
All these little things. They talked about the Monbiot effect. I don't know if you knew that, because you were the early adopter. You were the first person with any sort of public profile to really get behind us.
My efforts are useless unless there's there are movements to work with and to pick them up and to interact with. You know,
The power of the hunger strike is it's something one person, you know, one person can take that stand and say, well, I'm going to do this, you know, and then just by having sort of 8 or 9 of us in the UK doing it still on day 11, it's suddenly starting to get this impact. You know, it shows how the Margaret Mead quote, you know, how a few people committed can make a difference, and it really is starting to work. And then that gives something that we can all get behind and support, doesn't it? So as soon as the hunger strikers arrive, I'm in service, so she gets my umbrella now. She's sometimes resistant to it, but I'm working on her receiving.
you're not getting too cold, because I would have thought that was a real danger if you've not got any food in you.
Yeah, but I'm used to kind of every day I'm wearing layers and layers of clothing. I mean, now I'm just coming from work and I realize I actually need to be really careful now.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the power of the action, isn't it? It's using our privilege in this rich country to, when we have access to food, to choose to give that up and to sort of experience hunger when 820 million people right now are experiencing hunger and they have no choice in the matter. And billions are going to face that if we don't make the change. So it's using that privilege to bring about that change.
It really does bring it home, because already we're seeing massive disruptions to crop production, people's ability to subsist, and that's with 1 degree of warming.
So one of the things we recognised we failed to do as a movement within Extinction Rebellion in October was, and throughout our time actually, is communicate the vulnerability that we face right now around the world and in the UK. So food vulnerability, to make that really real. So that was one of the goals we set ourselves for the Election Rebellion, was to communicate that vulnerability. And then this action is, the hunger strike is part of the Election Rebellion, and it really is so clearly embedded in the hunger strike, is this vulnerability. I mean, Petra's been incredible in helping me to see that the core of this action is about vulnerability, making that really clear, embodying it, making ourselves vulnerable, to communicate that we're all vulnerable,
Deeply impressive. I'm really honoured to meet these amazing guys here, all of them who are doing just fantastic work for our life support systems and for everyone else on Earth. And I know that the strikers here are striking in support of a Climate and Ecological Emergency Act, which actually makes good the promises that governments have now made, declaring ecological emergencies, declaring climate emergencies, but they haven't yet acted on them. And until they act on them, then those declarations are worthless, and their claims to be protecting humanity are worthless. So a bill has been put forward called the Climate and Ecological Emergency Bill that we're calling for all candidates to get behind, to show that they mean business, to show that they are really committed to protecting this one planet that gives life and that keeps everybody alive. So if they're not, then they will be seen as the people who are allowing all of our lives to just go down the toilet, because they don't actually care about what happens to our life support systems.